Hello, everyone, and welcome to Battle of the Beasts New Protectors Era Edition, episode number 13, episode number 13. I was doing so well with that intro, and I still battered it. So, my name is Adam, and welcome to the third battle of the quarterfinals. So, with the battle here, this is probably the most obvious looking outcome. Well, actually, no, the last one was the most obvious looking outcome, and we know how that went. But this one is probably one of the more obvious looking outcomes due to the beasts which are fighting, along with their abilities, and how much I talk about how much I like this one, and how much I dislike this one. So, yeah, okay. All right, need to think of, yeah. So, let's introduce these beasts. So, representing Series 29. The New Protectors. I need to stop looking at the name of the series. Representing Series 29, The New Protectors, book number 3, Draka the Winged Serpent. Versus his opponent, representative of Series 31, Guardians of Tangala. Didn't need to check that one. That's a lie. I did need to check it. It's Petrok the Stone Warrior. So, yay, Draka versus Petrok. And both of these beasts were fought by Nolan. So, yeah, you know, interesting. But then again, hold on. Last episode had a Wraith beast, a beast fought by Wraith against another beast fought by Wraith. So yeah. And the first episode that was Chiropter versus Lucor. No, so that's Catcher versus Myandra. So yeah. So this is the second battle of this tournament, well, this round rather, that has one New Protectors beast versus the same New Protectors beast. It's weird how often that's came up, actually. I think this is the 5th time this tournament, and we got one more coming up this round. Where it's two Catchers beasts fighting each other. I don't know if you... Hold on, did you see the match? No, you didn't see the matchups. No, you didn't see the matchups in the background, thankfully. Okay, so let's introduce... Well, we already introduced them. So, Battlefield is going to be the Fallen Kingdom Arena. Do I have a reason for that? No, I like the Fallen Kingdom Arena, so we're going with the Fallen Kingdom Arena. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to go with an arena I haven't used in a while. I've been using the Forest a lot, but you know what? I'm going to use another one. We're going to go with the Jungle Arena. Yeah, Jungle Arena, and let's get into this. But first, we got to get to the stats. Draka the Winged Serpent. Draka's abilities consist of Acid Spit, Flight, Enhanced Durability, Speed and Strength, and Natural Weaponry. Petrok the Stone Warrior. Petrok's abilities consist of Natural Weaponry, Enhanced Strength and Durability, and Self-Healing from his belt. And with that is the stats department done for both of these beasts, and it's weird how quickly the stats department gets done when you don't have a bio to talk about these beasts. But with that, like I said, Jungle Arena, and let's get into this battle. As the chamber doors open, Petrok immediately bounds out of the jungle. Well, bounds into the jungle, rather, out of his chamber, and starts swinging from tree to tree before hiding in one of the tree tops. Well, going into one of the treetops, rather, and looking out into the arena, trying to find his opponent. As Draka bursts through the sky exit, curls his tail up, and roars into the arena, looking down at the jungle below. Petrok immediately makes eye contact with Draka, and he stands on top of his tree and roars at Draka. Draka wastes no time and shoots a jet of acid directly towards Petrok. Petrok dives into the greenery below and swings from tree to tree as Draka curls himself up and dives into the forest as well. Draka's with the larger body weight is just breaking through each tree, crashing into each tree, trying to chase Petrok around the arena. Petrok is, running out of space to fly, actually. But swing. Running out of spaces to swing. But he's given Draka a good run before he immediately comes to an end, turns himself around, and charges up towards Draka, lifting up both his fists and slamming Draka's head into the ground, bringing Draka's flying to a stop. As Petrok immediately jumps on top of Draka, Draka lifts up his tail, wraps it around Petrok's wrist, and pulls his wrist back as Petrok pulls his wrist forward. And Draka then lets go of his wrist as Petrok gets flung forward. Draka then whips his tail around, wraps it around Petrok's leg, hoists him up before Draka takes to the sky, bringing Petrok up with him. As Petrok fights at the tail, Draka decides to just slam Petrok into the ground of the arena. As he dives back down, bites into Petrok right across his chest, sinking all his fangs into him. Petrok lifts up his fist and slams him into Draka's head. Draka roars in pain at this as he flies away from Petrok. Petrok immediately touches his belt, and all the wounds that he sustained already has been healed, and is immediately standing up, roaring into the arena. Draka decides that no, that is cheating. You're not allowed to have a self-healing belt. Petrok just taunts Draka and says, in a way where it's just like, come and get it then. Draka takes Petrok up with this challenge and dives back down towards Petrok. Before we're going to bite down on his head, Petrok lifts up his fist, digs each hand into each side of Draka's jaw, keeping it wide open as Petrok feels Draka's breath just breathing on him. Draka lets out a kind of sound which sounds like a laugh as he builds up acid inside of him and shoots a jet directly onto Petrok. Petrok immediately roars into pain as he brings his arms down, and using the self-healing belt is immediately cleared of the acid. But as the acid keeps coming, he's fighting he's being healed damage at the same time. Petrok is roaring in pain over this, realizing he needs to get away. He makes his way. He quickly tries to get away as Draka continues to shoot acid directly onto him, and Petrok's healing himself with that belt. Draka decides, as eventually Petrok is able to jump up and swing away through the remaining trees, getting away from Draka. Draka decides he's had enough of these trees. He shoots up towards the sky, going right past Petrok, who was ready to defend himself, as Draka looks down onto the arena and shoots a jet of acid all over the arena, it melting away, disintegrating, destroying all the trees in the arena, causing all of them to melt away and puddles of acid appearing all over the ground as Petrok is forced to come back down to the ground, and immediately he sees that his terrain has been disintegrated by Draka. As Draka swoops back down to come for Petrok, Petrok climbs up to the side of the arena and jumps up, bringing up his fist ready to punch down at Draka as Draka has his mouth wide open about to engulf Petrok. Petrok immediately grabs onto one of Draka's lower jaw. He grabs onto, swinging around it, getting one arm on one of his wings as he flings himself up onto Draka, runs along Draka's back as Draka's tail comes to grab at Petrok. Petrok's able to dodge it, weave it as he continues running along the back. He comes up to the end of Draka's tail as he grabs onto it and swings round on Draka before being able to swing round and round Draka, wrapping Draka in his own tail, binding his wings together as both beasts come crashing down to the ground, with Petrok right on top of Draka's forehead, riding Draka as they both crash into the arena. The acid splashing everywhere but not affecting Draka at all as Petrok gets flung off of Draka from the impact. But as Petrok is lying in the acid and healing himself in the process, he can't help but laugh at how badass that was. As he gets back up, healing up from the acid, he looks over at Draka, who has just been able to untangle himself. In absolute anger flaring in his eyes, he shoots a jet of acid directly towards Petrok. Petrok lifts up one hand with the other hand on his belt, healing his arm as it gets disintegrated by acid, but healing at the same time. He takes the pain as he walks up to Draka, just reflecting the acid. He's healing himself up all the way. Draka, completely caught off guard by this, seeing this sheer badassery of a beast that he underestimated, As Petrok is getting closer and closer towards Draka, Draka has an idea. He swings his tail forward, wraps it around Petrok's wrist that was touching the belt, and pulls it away from him. As Draka continues to shoot acid, and immediately Petrok pulls his arm back as it disintegrates right in front of him or melts away. He goes to touch towards the belt, but that's gone. He can't reach it as Petrok literally tries backing away now, and Draka realizes, oh, so you're trying to back away now, are you? Coward. Draka immediately takes to the sky, pulling Petrok with him, literally by the arm, making Petrok unable to grab onto his belt because he's lost one arm. Draka then starts swimming, flying around in a cartwheel formation, pulling Petrok with him, before eventually stopping and whipping his tail down, slamming Petrok into the ground. As Petrok's falling down, he has his free arm, grabs onto the belt, regenerates the lost arm, and takes the smashing, landing right into the ground, causing dust clouds to emerge, splashing acid everywhere, and Petrok is drenched in acid as Draka shoots down another jet of acid directly towards Petrok. The entire time, Petrok's been healing himself with his belt. As Draka looks down to the dust cloud and the steam cloud that that erupted from the arena, he comes down and sees Petrok just standing there, taking every hit like an absolute unit. Draka, in shock by this, in anger, charges up towards Petrok. Petrok goes to swing both his fists at him before Draka wraps his tail around both of Petrok's fists and hoists them upwards as Draka looks at the belt and grabs onto it with his fangs before he sees Petrok, eyes wide, panicking, shaking his head, begging for Draka to not do it. And Draka realizes what's happening. Draka decides that he could melt away at the belt, but it'll be more fun to just yank it away from him. As he rips the belt off of Petrok, he immediately drops Petrok down. As Petrok stares up, as Draka snaps right through the belt. And Petrok screeches in anger at this as he charges up towards the belt, picks it up, tries to put it together, but to no avail. And eventually he sees his hands locking in place, stone creeping up all over his body as he stares up at Draka, who's just laughing maniacally. The only thing that Petrok is thinking is, you're going to get your karma one day. There's going to be one beast coming up that you can't beat. I may not be that beast, but your end will come one day. And eventually, Petrok is fully encased in stone. As Draka wraps his tail around one of Petrok's wrists, he hoists Petrok up to the ground before staring one more time at the statue of Petrok before chucking it down to the ground. And as soon as Petrok hit the ground, the stone shattered into millions of pieces. Draka roars in success before flying back to his chamber, ready for the next round. So with that, Draka's won, Petrok has lost. If you think Petrok should have won, please leave in the comments below why you think that. How my worst final, and Draka's moving on to the next round. Now, this battle, I think, is one of the more obvious ones where the beast that I kind of figured would win did win, but I decided to have some fun with it, give Petrok some badass moments. Honestly, yeah, I'm surprised at how many badass moments I gave Petrok in this battle. But it was also a case of once his belt was gone, the only thing that was flowing through my head was Dr. Facilier's death in Princess and the Frog. When that talisman he had got shattered, he grabs onto it trying to fix it together. And immediately he already knows that his fate is sealed. Just like what Petrok knew. When his fate was sealed, when that belt was gone, he knew he was screwed. So I had friends on the other side just playing in my head, and I was like, don't quote it, don't get copyright. But let's be honest, it was obvious Draka was going to win. How he was going to win, I wasn't sure, but I knew with that self-healing belt, that was going to be the method which Draka would have to go for to defeat him. I did generally consider, do I disintegrate the belt or do I break it? But then I thought, continuity-wise, break it, because then it'll be more funnier. But 2, it should have disintegrated ages ago if it was meant to be disintegrated by acid. So for that, I had Draka break it. And that being said, that is all for this time. This was probably one of my favourite battles this round because of how much fun I had with tormenting Petrok. But yeah, I will say Petrok has actually gained some appreciation from me somehow. So for that, no longer my least favourite of Series 31. That honour goes to Pyrano. Sorry, you Pyrano fans. We got a new bad boy in town. So oh, that is so weird and so bad. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below. This has been incredibly cringy but fun at the same time, and I'll see you next time.